Hi, and thanks for watching. In this video, I want to look at Tai Chi and the dynamic within the hands. Sometimes this gets referred to as the solid hand and empty hand, fixed hand and moving hand, the hand that applies the strength while the other one dissolves or takes the strength away. So the main concept is this idea that the hands are always changing dynamically through the routine in how they are positioned, how they're applying strength. And this is important to understand not only in terms of routine training, but also understanding the martial applications, and is a crucial link for moving into push hands. And so this is a dynamic that happens through all of the training. If we look at a couple examples, what we'll do is we'll look just at the very beginning of the routine. So the very first part of in Chen style Tai Chi, after preparation, there's Buddha's warrior pounds the mortar, which comes through from here, sweeping across, stepping through, and of course, stop. Within this, the hands are moving in a coordinated fashion, but the dynamic between them, where we apply the strength, is constantly changing, constantly shifting. If we think of this first move, we need to identify how there's one hand that is the solid hand, the one that's coming through for a block, for a connection, to come into contact with the other person. Sensing where the strength is being applied, sensing where the opponent's center of gravity is. While that hand is making that contact, the other hand is moving into position. Say it's from the wrist to the elbow. From here, then the dynamic changes. Having sensed where the person's center of gravity is, the other hand can then apply the strength, pressing in, while the other first hand starts to take the strength away. So the dynamic from a solid hand to a moving hand to a hand that's applying a press into the opponent to the other hand which takes that strength away. Coming through, then again there's a change. There's a solid hand here, and of course the other hand, the hand behind, moving hand. Switching again, solid hand, moving hand, so on and so forth. This dynamic has different ways of being applied, so a different understanding and therefore sometimes a different terminology. And so this is where we get this variability in terms of fixed hand, moving hand. So this is in terms of positioning and gaining the advantage in terms of how you connect to the other person. There is the idea of the solid hand and the empty hand. This is in terms of applying strength, right? And very similar is this idea of one hand that has a positive power and the other that has a negative power. And then even in movements in the routine, like 6 ceilings, 4 closings, 六缝四壁, here, where it appears to have a very simple connected motion through the hands, where it appears the hands are doing the same thing. This is where it becomes quite important to realize and understand that they are doing different roles and applying the strength in different manners. So again, if we're coming from lazy tying of coat, a fixed hand and a moving hand, and then we come through one hand that is taking the strength away and one hand that's applying the strength. We have a hand that is holding the opponent and preventing them from coming in, closing the door. And the other hand, which is a moving hand, which is coming through, this is the hand that applies the strength, right? So here. It's called 6 and 4 closings. It brings us to a total of 10. So it's a complete shutdown of something, a shutdown of an opponent's attack. But it's not 5 and 5. It's 6 and 4. So again, it refers to this idea that the hands are constantly doing, applying the force in different ways. There's a different dynamic. The dynamic is rooted in the movement from the center, the core of the body, the dantian, but it is expressed by the arms and the hands. So even these sorts of movements, moving into single whip, right? Moving hand, fixed hand, that changes, fixed hand, moving hand, so on and so forth. And of course, from that, that is the bridge into the martial techniques, into push hands into sparring for Tai Chi with the grappling. And so this is an important concept, a simple concept, but an important concept. And the basis of it for the training comes from the routine. So when going through the routine, instead of just moving the hands in a fashion where they're just moving in a coordinated but not differentiated fashion, think about how they can be applied from this perspective, using a different dynamic from one hand into the other. Hope this information is helpful for you. Keep training, keep practicing, and take care.